Okay, let's unpack this. Richard Pryor. We all know the name, right?
An absolute legend.
But have you ever really, stopped to think what truly forged his genius?
It's quite a story.
So today, that's what we're doing. A deep dive into the life and the revolutionary comedy of Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
We've looked at this comprehensive biographical account of his journey. I mean, from unimaginable childhood trauma
Really tough beginnings.
to just undeniable comedic superstardom.
Completely reshaped the landscape.
Exactly. So our mission here for this deep dive is to understand not just what happened, but how Pryor's raw, often painful life experiences actually became the fuel for his groundbreaking humor.
How it fundamentally changed comedy itself.
Right. We're going to try and uncover those essential nuggets of knowledge, how his personal truth became this universal art.
And what that still means for us today as an audience.
Okay, so let's set the scene for you. Picture December 1st, 1940, Peoria, Illinois.
A city steeped in contradiction, as the source describes it.
And this is where Richard Franklin Lennox Thomas Pryor III entered the world. Can you maybe paint a picture of what those formative years were truly like for him?
Well, it's hard to overstate how unusual it was. I mean, Richard didn't have anything like a conventional childhood.
Right.
He grew up quite literally in a brothel owned by his grandmother, Marie Carter.
His grandmother. Wow.
Yeah, and she was this incredibly tough, iron-willed woman. Then you had his mother, Gertrude Thomas, a sex worker, kind of in and out of his life. And his father, Laurie Buck Carter. Pryor, former boxer, hustler, pimp. Physically abusive, emotionally pretty absent.
So this house of women, as they called it?
Exactly. It exposed him incredibly early to just the raw realities of sex, violence, addiction, betrayal, everything.
And that environment, it inflicted deep trauma, didn't it? The source mentions abuse.
It did, including, sexual abuse by a teen neighbor and also a Catholic priest. These were wounds he would later kind of transform remarkably through his comedy, process them on stage.
That's unbelievable. And Peoria itself, the city, the social landscape back then, how did that add to things?
Well, it added layers of complexity, definitely. Peoria in the 40s and 50s, it was a city with really firmly drawn racial lines.
Segregation was just a fact of life.
Absolutely, both de facto and de jure. So you had systemic, legal, and social barriers that created incredibly limited opportunities and, frankly, safety for black kids like Richard.
No illusions about their place.
None. So this wasn't just his hometown. It was this intense, segregated cauldron that really steeped him in the realities of race and struggle.
Shaping that honesty that would define his later work.
Precisely. That uncompromising honesty.
Yet, even amidst all that hardship, you hear about Peoria having this kind of vibrant, almost underground nightlife pulse.
Yeah, jazz clubs, gambling parlors, strip joints.
How did a young Richard fit into that? Was he part of it?
He was more of an observer, a sponge, really. He'd sneak into burlesque shows, hang around pool halls, just watching people constantly.
And that's where the talent starts to show.
It's where you see the very first sparks of his gift for imitation. He'd absorb voices, accents, gestures, just mirroring the world around him with this uncanny precision.
So, given that turbulent childhood and these intense observations, how did he actually manage day to day, like in school, before comedy became his thing?
He coped by, disruptive. He was notoriously disruptive in school, often expelled for bad behavior, labeled the class clown.
So laughter was a defense?
Absolutely. It became his defense mechanism, almost a weapon against the chaos. But there was one lifeline.
Okay.
A compassionate teacher, Juliet Whitaker. She ran a neighborhood theater program for disadvantaged black kids.
Ah, that's great.
And she recognized his raw talent, encouraged his acting. It was one of the few safe spaces for expression he really knew.
So that safe space, that sounds incredibly important, but the source says it didn't last.
No, tragically it didn't. His mother's repeated abandonment, the physical abuse from his father escalating, it all led him to drop out in ninth grade.
Just ninth grade?
Yeah. And from there, he was basically left wandering Peoria's streets, just filled with this growing anger and confusion.
Which brings us to 1958. He's 18. What path does he take then, trying to find some structure maybe?
He enlists in the U.S. Army.
Right, the classic route for some structure.
Yeah, but Even the military, which he hoped would provide discipline, it couldn't really contain him. He ended up serving 2 years in military prison in West Germany.
Prison? What for?
He stabbed a white soldier during a racially charged fight.
Wow.
And the sources really emphasized the intense racial tension in the military back then, and Pryor's, his intolerance for injustice, even then.
He later joked about it, right? But it must have marked him.
Oh, definitely. It solidified his identity as an outsider. He just never truly fit in anywhere.
So 1960, he's back in Peoria, 20 years old, directionless, but with those sharp instincts.
And probably a burning desire to escape his past.
What was that post-army struggle like for him?
It was palpable, yeah. He came back angrier, more cynical. Took a string of odd jobs, janitor, meatpacker.
Bartender at a strip club, I read that too.
Exactly. And in those roles, he just continued his relentless observation of human behavior. What's striking is, he had no conscious plan for comedy initially.
Really?
No, but people around him said he just couldn't stop mimicking people. Preachers, pimps, winos, cops, drunks. Sometimes all in the same breath.
So he's constantly observing, mimicking. How does that finally lead to him getting on a stage? The first step.
His first actual mic was at Harold's Club in Peoria.
Just a local place.
Yeah. He basically just convinced the owner to let him go up during an amateur night. The story goes, he absolutely killed.
You found something there.
A release, yeah. Something clicked.
Okay, that's a powerful moment. But when he started, what was his act like? Was it the Richard Pryor we know?
Oh, far from it. His early act was heavily influenced by Bill Cosby.
Clean, observational.
Exactly. Clean, observational, safe. Which, was pretty necessary for a black comic trying to get booked in white clubs in the early 60s.
Had to be palatable.
Totally. He mimicked Cosby's style, avoided controversy. But the source material knows that even then, beneath that clean surface, there was this underlying tension, a different energy.
You could sense he was holding back.
Yeah, you could feel it.
So by 1963, he leaves Peoria, hits the road, sharpening his act in Chicago clubs like the Gate of Horn.
He's soaking up influences too. Other comics, jazz musicians, poets. Starting to see performance as real art.
And immersing himself in jazz, right? Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Coltrane. How did that connection shape him?
He started seeing his comedy like jazz. Improvisational, emotional, always searching for truth. This period also saw him doing brief stints in Greenwich Village, San Francisco, just broadening his artistic landscape.
He understood even then that real art wasn't just about pleasantries.
Exactly. Like jazz, it's about expression, about truth, even when it's messy.
And he starts getting TV breaks pretty quickly. By 64, Merv Griffin, Ed Sullivan, Johnny Carson.
Yeah, the big ones.
This clean act made him palatable, like you said. Young, sharp, charming was the description. What was going on inside, though?
He was, and the source quotes this, dying inside.
Wow.
Playing a role, not speaking his truth. The pressure to maintain that smiling, unthreatening black comic persona was just immense, suffocating.
He said they wanted him to smile and not scare them.
That's it, an excruciating internal conflict.
Did that pressure spill over into his personal life?
Absolutely. His personal life was already chaotic.
Yeah.
He was developing a taste for alcohol, drugs, fast living, probably seeking some kind of relief. And this period also saw 2 turbulent marriages and divorces. It just highlights that huge gap between the white friendly success he was chasing.
And the chaotic, painful truth of his own life.
Exactly.
Okay, this all builds to that pivotal moment in 1967. He's playing the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas, a dream booking.
The absolute pinnacle for a comic back then.
What happened? Why was it so significant?
This is the iconic walk-off. Halfway through his set, packed house, well-dressed crowd, he just pauses.
Looks out at the audience.
And asks himself out loud, what the F am I doing here? Drops the mic, walks off stage.
Just like that.
Just like that. And the source describes this not just as a career move, but as a moment of rupture. A chosen exile from the mainstream that lasted nearly 3 years.
And he said it himself, right? I looked out, all white faces. I thought, what the hell am I doing here? I was being fake, trying to be Bill Cosby.
But I ain't Bill Cosby. I'm Richard Pryor. And I didn't know what that meant yet, but I knew I had to find out.
That's incredibly powerful. What does the source material say this moment truly signified?
It calls it a spiritual detonation.
Wow.
Not just a career shift. It was the absolute beginning of his true voice emerging. His transformation from just a performer into, well, the source boldly calls him a prophet.
It suggests the most courageous act is rejecting what the world wants you to be.
To find out who you really are, yeah.
So the spiritual detonation leads him to Berkeley, California in 1968. What was it about Berkeley then?
Oh, Berkeley in 68 was just pulsing with radical energy, political unrest, social revolution. It was the epicenter of Black power.
And he found his people there.
He really did. Not just fans, but thinkers, writers, poets, revolutionaries, academics. He spent time with Huey Newton, members of the Black Panther Party.
Ishmael Reed, Angela Davis.
Yeah, scholars like that. And these figures helped him see comedy completely differently, not just entertainment.
But as a weapon, a mirror.
A truth-teller's tool. Exactly.
So he's absorbing all this radical energy. How did that directly shape his comedy? What was he working on?
He dove into reading Malcolm X, James Baldwin, Frantz Fanon, Leroy Jones, who became Amiri Baraka.
Heavy stuff.
And he actively stopped performing for white audiences for a while. He took the mic in black nightclubs, community centers, colleges.
Working it out.
Yeah, working out this new, brutally honest, politically sharp, unapologetically black act. He ditched the Cosby comparisons completely. Stop pretending.
This is where the raw, angry, or fearless style comes in.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this was also when he made that really controversial decision to use the N-word on stage.
A choice that defined and haunted him.
Both, definitely.
And the characters he started doing, were they new or from his past?
They were composites from his past, brought to life. Junkies, hustlers, winos, preachers, corrupt cops, hypocritical church ladies.
Yeah.
Well, a whole gallery.
His own voice wasn't always the main one.
Sometimes his own voice became the least reliable, as the source puts it.
Mm-hmm.
He was channeling these personas, truly turning pain into performance.
Stories of childhood abuse, his dad's rage, Peoria street life.
All became punchlines,
No.
but layered with so much heartbreak and humor. You'd laugh, you'd wince, you'd think. Audiences cheered.
It wasn't just funny, it was cathartic, uncomfortable truth.
Deeply.
So these intense artistic breakthroughs, when did they finally get recorded, reach a wider audience?
Well, his self-titled debut in 68 hinted at it, but the real breakthrough was the live recordings in the early 70s.
Right.
First, the underground hit, Craps, After Hours. Recorded live in San Francisco in 71.
Only sold at shows or mail order.
Yeah, but it spread like wildfire in the black community. People knew this was the real Richard, the one they'd been waiting for.
And then the big one.
Then, 1974, what the source calls the nuclear bomb on comedy. That nigger's crazy.
Recorded live at Don Cornelius's Soul Train nightclub. That title alone.
Undeniably bold. A clear statement of intent.
Mm-hmm.
No holding back.
And the content inside that nigger's crazy, it matched the title's boldness, right? What was he tackling?
Everything. Police brutality, relationships, drugs, racism, poverty, sex. All delivered with what the source calls a scalpel of truth.
Any routines that became really iconic from it?
Oh yeah. Wino and Junkie. Just a tragicomic masterpiece. Prison Play, which was darkly hilarious. And Black and White People. Such an incisive study of cultural contrasts.
That album sounds like it was a seismic event. What was the immediate impact?
Massive. Especially among black audiences, of course. It became the first comedy LP to hit platinum. Won him his first Grammy for Best Comedy Album.
He wasn't just rising anymore.
He was a comet, blazing across the scene. And what's fascinating is the crossover.
To white audiences. Despite the language, the themes.
Yeah. Its sheer brilliance made white America lean in, captivated. For the first time, really, raw, unvarnished black truth was being consumed en masse by white audiences.
And sanitized.
Not watered down at all.
Yeah.
Pure, messy, unflinching. He really made America laugh at its ugliest truths, forced a kind of collective look in the mirror.
And his output just exploded then, right? He followed up quickly.
Wait. Something I said. in 1975, another Grammy winner.
What were some key routines from that one?
They gave us Mudbone, his legendary old black man character.
Ah, Mudbone, classic.
Yeah, Shortage of White People, which was a scathing bit of commentary. And When Your Woman Leaves You, just painfully funny and so relatable.
So that period, 74 to 76, he was just unstoppable.
Totally. 2 platinum albums, back-to-back Grammys, sold-out shows everywhere. He fundamentally reshaped what it meant to be a black comedian.
No longer an imitator.
He was the standard. He fully owned his revolutionary impact right then.
And as the stand-up soared, he was also building this significant film career alongside it.
Yeah, showing incredible versatility there too.
What were some of those early roles?
Well, Lady Sings the Blues in 72 with Diana Ross showed real dramatic chops. The Mac in 73, that cult blaxploitation classic. Uptown Saturday Night in 74 with Poitier and Cosby.
And then Silver Streak in 76.
With Gene Wilder,
Yeah.
establishing that beloved comedic duo. His screen presence was just undeniable.
You could steal scenes.
With a glance, a mutter, a single line delivered perfectly. He just had it.
So with that kind of presence, it makes sense NBC came calling the Richard Pryor Show in 1977. How did that go?
Well, it immediately became this battleground over creative control.
Predictable, maybe.
Yeah. Pryor wanted to bring his racial satire, his raw characters to network TV. NBC wanted, well, safer content, much safer.
So what happened?
The pilot got shelved. The show, when it finally aired, was heavily censored, short-lived, only 4 episodes.
But still groundbreaking.
In a way, yes. It proved Pryor wasn't willing to play by industry rules. He'd either be true to his voice or not do it at all.
Even sacrificing that mainstream opportunity.
That's the profound takeaway. Integrity over compromise, even at great cost.
Okay, so by 1979, he's achieved this massive superstar status. But the sources paint this picture of a sharp contrast with a spiraling personal life.
Yeah, things are getting really difficult behind the scenes.
What was happening?
Yeah.
Leading up to that crucial turning point.
His addiction, cocaine, alcohol, it was escalating rapidly,
Yeah.
leading to increasingly risky behavior.
And that culminated in
The infamous incident, June 9th, 1980. He accidentally set himself on fire while freebasing cocaine.
ran down the street engulfed in flames. It sounds horrific.
Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Miraculously, he survived, but suffered third-degree burns over more than half his body.
And yet his response to it, the humor, dark as it was, when you're on fire, people get out of your way.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it? And that incident became a powerful, if dark, part of his act.
Most notably in Live on the Sunset Strip, right? That 1982 special.
Exactly, which was a massive success. The profound insight there is how, even after something so near fatal, so self-inflicted, he refused to hide.
He processed it on stage.
Made audiences confront his vulnerability, the consequences of his struggles, turning personal hell into this universal, though uncomfortable art.
And he kept performing, despite the health scares, the ongoing drug problems. How did his routines evolve then?
They became significantly more introspective. He started tackling his own demons head-on, addiction, his tumultuous relationships, illness.
All with that same fearless honesty.
Yeah, his personal life remained chaotic. Married 7 times to 5 different women, fathered 7 children.
And those relationships, his brushes with the law.
Often became the raw material for his humor. Nothing was off limits.
And then the truly cruel diagnosis, multiple sclerosis in 1986.
Yeah, a degenerative disease. Slowly robbed him of his physical strength, his speech.
But he kept performing.
As long as he possibly could. Just an incredible force of will. He kept appearing in films too.
Harlem Nights, directed by Eddie Murphy, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, The Toy.
Right. And even as his body failed him, his influence on younger comics was just immense.
Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, they all point to him.
Consistently name him their biggest influence. Underscores his enduring importance.
So even wheelchair-bound, struggling to speak in the 90s and 2000s, the honors kept coming, right?
They did. He received the first ever Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize for American Humor in 1998.
Cementing his title as the GOAT.
Pretty much. The greatest of all time. He became this cultural icon, really recognized for his courage as much as his comedy.
And he passed away in 2005.
December 10, 2005. Heart attack. He was 65.
His legacy feels immense. He did so much more than tell jokes.
He literally made America confront itself. infusing pain and humor in a way nobody had before.
Influenced generations, opened doors that have been slammed shut, especially for Black comedians, changed the language of comedy.
Burned bright, raw, and unfiltered.
What's truly profound, I think, is how, even in those claims, literal and figurative,
He found a way to laugh and make us laugh with him at the hardest truth. That's his ultimate legacy.
Richard Pryor himself once said something powerful. What I'm doing is not for the sake of comedy. It's not even for the sake of entertainment. It's for the sake of telling the truth.
And that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah. Richard Pryor's life was just this profound testament to how deeply personal truth, no matter how raw or painful it is,
That he transformed into universal art.
making us laugh, making us wince, making us really see.
So, as you think about Pryor's incredible impact, maybe consider this. How much of today's most insightful, maybe most challenging comedy still operates in that space Richard Pryor carved out? Daring to be honest about discomfort, addiction, systemic issues. What other artists, or maybe other forms of expression today, are doing something similar, using their personal experiences to hold that mirror up to society, forcing us all to confront uncomfortable truths?